A beautiful emotional true story. You must listen to it from beginning to end, because this story might change your life. The morning fog blanketed the streets of Brooklyn like a sorrowful veil. It was quiet, not the peaceful kind, but the kind that pressed against the skin, thick with worry and cold. A man stood on the corner, barefoot, holding a tiny baby wrapped in a tattered old blanket. His eyes were hollow, sleepless, red, defeated. That man's name was Daniel Hayes. Only 3 weeks ago, his life had shattered. His wife, Rachel, had died giving birth to their daughter. Complications. The doctor said they tried everything, but the hemorrhaging wouldn't stop. And just like that, she was gone. He didn't even have time to grieve. He held the baby girl, tiny and soft, and named her Emily, the name Rachel had picked. But love wasn't enough to keep them fed. Daniel worked as a line cook in a downtown diner. But between sleepless nights, emergency hospital visits, and taking care of a newborn alone, he kept missing shifts. After 2 warnings, the manager let him go. No job meant no income. Within 2 weeks, the landlord slipped a notice under the door. By the 3rd week, Daniel found himself on the streets, his entire world reduced to a duffel bag, a baby carrier, and a can of formula that ran out the night before. And now, as dawn broke over the city, Emily whimpered against his chest, too weak to cry properly. Her lips were dry. Her breathing was shallow. He had nothing left. He knocked on church doors. He begged strangers. He even tried selling his last good winter jacket. But no one stopped. Everyone had their own problems. And then, he saw her. She was walking fast, in gym clothes, earbuds in, her eyes glued to the sidewalk like she was trying to outrun her own thoughts. Her name was Jenna Bloom, 32, a freelance editor, recently divorced, and emotionally burnt out. She wasn't cold-hearted, just self-protective. But something about the baby's whimper, pierced right through her. She stopped. Pulled out her earbuds. Turned toward the sound. The sight before her froze her in place, a man in a torn hoodie, barefoot on cold concrete, holding a newborn who looked lifeless. "Are you okay?" Jenna asked softly, eyes fixed on the baby. Daniel looked up. Embarrassed. Hesitant. But he didn't speak. Then, in a broken whisper, he said, She hasn't eaten in over 12 hours. I ran out of formula. I don't have anything." Jenna's heart clenched. She could have handed him a 20 and kept walking. Or pointed him toward the nearest shelter. That's what she would have done a month ago. But today something inside her stirred. "Come with me," she said. Daniel blinked. "What?" "My apartment is 2 blocks away. Just, come with me." He hesitated. He hadn't trusted anyone in a long time. But something about her eyes, not just sympathy, but resolve, made him nod. They walked together in silence. Emily let out a soft sigh. Jenna unlocked the door to her modest but clean apartment and stepped aside. "Sit," she said gently. Daniel lowered himself onto the couch, clutching Emily like she was made of glass. His whole body trembled. Jenna disappeared into the bedroom, then returned a minute later wearing a loose sweatshirt and holding something unfamiliar to him, a nursing cover. She looked at him with eyes glistening. "A month ago. I lost my baby. Stillbirth. He was full term, but he never cried. And yet, my body didn't understand he was gone. I kept producing milk. I didn't know what to do with it." Daniel stared at her. Shocked. Speechless. "I know this is strange," she said, barely holding her tears. "But if you're willing, I can help feed your baby." He didn't speak. Only nodded. Gently, Jenna reached out. Daniel placed Emily into her arms, hesitantly, protectively. But the moment Jenna held her, something shifted. Emily, as if sensing the warmth and comfort she had missed, began to latch. "And Daniel," he cried. For the first time since Rachel died, he allowed himself to weep. Emily was calm. Her tiny hand rested against Jenna's chest. "And Jenna?" She exhaled, deeply, like someone who had been holding their breath for weeks. What seemed like a moment of kindness, became the beginning of a new life. Daniel didn't leave that day. Jenna insisted, "Stay, at least until she's okay." She bought diapers, bottles, formula. But more than that, she held Emily, rocked her, bathed her, fed her. In those quiet moments, Jenna became something she hadn't expected, a mother. Not biologically. Not by law. But in the deepest part of her soul. Daniel told her about Rachel. About the diner. About losing everything. And now, here was a woman giving his daughter life again, asking nothing in return. One night, after Emily had finally fallen asleep, they sat at the kitchen table. Jenna poured him a cup of tea. "How can I ever thank you?" Daniel asked quietly. "You don't have to," Jenna said with a soft smile. Maybe I needed her as much as she needed me." The air changed. A connection formed, not romantic. Not yet. But something real. Something sacred. A bond forged in grief. And healed through a tiny, helpless baby. Weeks passed. Routine returned. Jenna helped Daniel get a job with her friend who owned a food truck. He worked the day shifts, returned in the evening, and cooked dinner. Jenna laughed again, at Emily's burps and Daniel's bad jokes. One morning, Emily smiled, really smiled, and it was at Jenna. Daniel saw it. Said nothing. Just watched, as a woman, not her birth mother, but her heart mother, lit up. But then, trouble knocked. Literally. One night, Child Protective Services showed up at Jenna's door. A neighbor had reported something suspicious. A strange man, a baby, a woman breastfeeding a child that wasn't hers. It sounded wrong. Messy. Illegal. An investigation began. Daniel panicked. Jenna was furious. But neither backed down. They provided everything: receipts, medical notes, employment details, even photos. The officer, Mrs. Alvarez, listened, watched. And then finally, she said. "This isn't common. But sometimes, humanity shows up in unexpected ways. I'm marking this case as exceptional circumstances." Then she asked, "But what's the long-term plan?" Daniel looked at Jenna. Then said slowly. "I want to raise Emily, with Jenna. If she wants that too." Silence. Jenna's eyes filled with tears. She smiled softly. "I already am," she whispered. 2 years later. They stood in front of a small house. Jenna held the keys. Daniel held a sleepy Emily in his arms. They weren't married, not yet. But they were a family. Jenna was a mother now, not by birth, but by every heartbeat. Every lullaby. Every sleepless night and giggle-filled morning. Daniel no longer wandered the streets. He owned a food truck now, Emily's Table. Jenna did the books. The menu was small, but the mission was big: food, dignity, and second chances. And Emily? She was growing up in love, protected, cherished, and surrounded by a bond stronger than blood. Because sometimes, the family fate gives you is not made of DNA, but of kindness, courage, and the moment a stranger says, "Come with me."